It's now my pleasure to introduce our commencement speaker, Mayor Brandon Scott, class of 2006. Mayor Scott is the 52nd mayor of Baltimore and a lifelong public servant whose leadership is focused on strengthening communities, investing in young people, and building a more equitable future for the city he proudly calls home. A graduate of St. Mary's College of Maryland, Mayor Scott has often reflected on the important role this institution played in shaping his commitment to leadership and service and civic engagement. Today, we are especially proud to welcome him home to St. Mary's. Please join me in welcoming Mayor Brandon Scott.
Thank you, thank you. Good morning, Madam President, honorable trustees, families, friends, everybody, but most importantly, the incredible class of 2026. Let's make some noise for them this morning. And Madam President, I must say, it feels great to be home. And Madam Valedictorian, when somebody asks me if I went to Mount St. Mary's, I simply say, no, I went to the smart one. That's the 20 years ago, right around this time, even though I might not look it, I was sitting out there amongst that sea of students thinking about it all, about what was next, about what I would miss. Spoiler alert, it was the girls and parties. I thought about it all so much that in that moment, I forgot to do something really important. And I won't make that mistake today. So today, I want to start by giving a shout out to all the parents, grandparents, siblings, aunts, uncles, everybody, TAs, mentors, tutors, professors, coaches, Keisha Rose and the team at the great room, everybody that helped you get here today. Let's give you a big round of applause. I know firsthand, young people, that the path to graduation isn't easy or straightforward, but nobody can make it alone. In class of 2026, I won't be up here long because I know how hot it is in that black in that tent. But I'm going to tell you something that you already know. This place is special and full of special people. And as time goes on, the feeling that you have about St. Mary's and your time here won't fade. It will become even more dear to you, as will the people. Some things you will never forget. Your first time at the green door, the smell of Dortch, though I hear it smells better now. Thank you, ladies. Your first late night sheets run. Yeah. The true meaning of the shoe tree. Hitting a game-winning, shot clock-beating, buzzer-beater to win intramurals, or maybe that was just me. Or just simply the beauty of Church Point, to name a few. But I can tell you that without a shadow of a doubt, that if I never bent that curve on Route 5 way back on August the 31st of 2002, Brandon Scott, the mayor, would not exist. It's kind of funny when I think about it now, because I never visited before that first day and hadn't heard of St. Mary's until admission staff, along with my coach, my college-bound advisor, and my dad bombarded me before school one day about this being the place for me. And boy, were they right. I often say, as I said earlier today, that I didn't choose St. Mary's, it chose me. And it's the best choice ever made for me in my life. Because for me, if you go off of statistics, I was never supposed to attend college, let alone graduate. As a young black man growing up in Park Heights in the 80s and 90s and what you all call the early aughts, I wasn't supposed to make it out of my neighborhood. I saw my first shooting before the age of 10. And even though I lived in a neighborhood that was the center of the sports world, for the third Saturday in May, because we typically host a horse race called Preakness every other day of the year, I wasn't seen or treated as human. And no one cared that I had seen that shooting. My mom shortly after told me that if I wanted that to change, then I would have to do it myself. And that's when I decided that I wanted to be the mayor of Baltimore. But this small but mighty place on the river is where that turned. It turned a dedication into a determination. It was in Kent Hall that I learned the technical aspects of policy making, and anybody that had Professor Shafcott knows I do mean technical. But it was in the campus center that I learned about coalition building. As president of the Black Student Union, shout out to my counterparts. Shout out to my counterparts in Fuse and Stars. And yes, the rumors are true. I hone my DJ skills in every academic building and dorm on this campus, and may or may not have thrown some massive parties right where you stand today. I learned how to decipher poems and novels and defend my beliefs in Professor Coleman's class. I learned the history of my people through Professor Denny, and heck, I even learned how to become an actor on this campus. But most of all, and most importantly, as a student leader, I learned both the value of and the true weight of student leadership. And I learned that under the stern but kind tutelage of then Dean Freeman and Joanne Goldwater. They taught me that sacrifice that comes with leadership is not something that you should worry about. Leaders don't worry about themselves, they worry about those that they serve. And I learned it in the best way to learn. Learned it all through the St. Mary's Way. And along with the memories, the knowledge, the lifetime friendships, it is the St. Mary's Way that I need you to take with you today as you drive on into the rest of your life. And side note, the ride will seem a little longer today than normal. Because now, more than ever, even more than the post-9/11 Iraq war recession world that was awaiting me at graduation, the world needs the St. Mary's Way. Imagine for a second, everyone, that the St. Mary's Way was the way of the world, and we live in a world where people respect the natural environment and the tradition of tolerance, which is the heritage of this planet. Imagine we lived in a world where people cultivate a lifelong quest for discipline, learning, and creativity versus microwave simplicity. Imagine we live where people take individual responsibility for that work in their actions instead of pointing at others while never looking in the mirror. Where people foster relationships based upon mutual respect, honesty, integrity, and trust, not for clicks, power, money, or self-gratification. Where people are engaged in an ongoing dialogue that values differences and the unique contributions of others' talents, backgrounds, customs, and worldviews, instead of demonizing, devaluing, dehumanizing, and trying to eradicate anyone or anything that does not fit their small view of what is acceptable. Where people are committed to examining and shaping the functional ethical values of our changing world, instead of tearing down any personal system that seeks to hold us all to the highest standards. Where people contribute to a spirit of caring and of service, because serving others is the greatest gift that we can give each other. It might seem hard today to believe that that world can exist, but I know it can exist because you exist. And I know it may seem like hyperbole, but I can truly testify to the power of the St. Mary's Way and how it can guide you through what many may deem the impossible. For most of my life, reducing homicides in Baltimore was deemed impossible. Year after year, we would lose 300 people to gun violence. 18 of the 42 years that I've been alive, to be exact. After taking office, I walked outside of a row home in East Baltimore and announced that we would reduce homicides by 15% each year, and we would do it through a public health-based comprehensive strategy. People laughed. Folks said it will never work. Not that way. This is impossible. The only way to do it was for me to turn back to mass arrests and policing while black policing. Forget that got us 300 homicides a year. But I knew better. I had the lived experience of growing up during those years and seeing nothing change while lives were ruined. I lost friends. I had the gun in my face. I ducked the bullets. But I now also had the academic experience and the data to know what was right. I knew that it wouldn't be popular. But as leaders, as folks who understand the St. Mary's way, it is our job to do what's right, not what's popular. Now, the data is clear. Homicides are down 60% over the last 5 years, including falling to a 50-year low in 2025. But it's not just what we did, it's how we did it that matters. By working hand in hand with community to understand their culture and their needs, by giving opportunity to live a better life while holding those accountable who refuse to do so, by holding irresponsible industry members accountable, and most importantly, by centering ourselves around the North Star of the lives of Baltimoreans. Make no mistake about it, class of 2026, today's world seems bleak, and the turning the dark clouds we see today into light will not be easy. But as long as the sun shines, there will always be folks who try to take us back to darker, less civilized times. But it's our responsibility to fight back and ignore those naysayers who say what can't be done. It's our responsibility as people who know better, who know the St. Mary's way, to do better, not for ourselves, but for all people. Because it's not just us as individuals who are in a constant state of becoming. Our country and our world are too. Exactly 20 years ago at my graduation, I sat in that seat looking at a shrinking economy, a slowing job market, and a Bush White House that was trampling working people to get foreign oil. As the saying goes, history doesn't repeat itself, but sometimes it rhymes. Or the song may simply be a cover. And when I got my diploma, I knew that was a call to action. As a graduate of St. Mary's College of Maryland, you have a responsibility to help shape the world around you for the better, especially in moments like this one. You've experienced the cost of bad policy. You've seen gas prices, housing market, everything implode right in front of your own eyes. You've identified problems that don't have easy solutions. There are people in the world who benefit from those problems and want you to believe that there is nothing to be done to solve them. They want us all to be stupid, disengaged, complacent, and hopeless. Because if everybody is stupid, disengaged, complacent, and hopeless, if everybody sees life as a zero-sum game, if everybody thinks there is nothing that can be done, then nothing ever changes. But I'll tell you all what my mother told me. Nobody is coming to save us. We have to do it ourselves. By standing to tyranny, by knowing and understanding our history, by pouring into those around us, and by doing what's right every time, even when people will hate you for it. Can we truly become better people, better neighbors, better friends, and better leaders? We need you now more than ever. And there are those who will tell you that change is impossible. But before I take my seat, I will remind you of the words of the immortal Muhammad Ali. Impossible is just a big word thrown around by small men who find it easier to live in the world they have been given than to explore the power they have to change it. Impossible is not a fact. Impossible is an opinion. Impossible is not a declaration. It is a dare. It is a potential. Impossible is temporary. Impossible is nothing. Class of 2026, I know you will rise to the challenge, and I cannot wait to see each and every one of you take that step into your greatness. Thank you.